Brenda and CJ are nominated for eviction, but what will this weekend's Golden Power Veto competition entail? Find out now on Big Brother Cheesecake 4 Office Wars. Hello, I'm Andrew Shevzik Moonves. Welcome to Big Brother Cheesecake 4 Office Wars. It's day 54 inside the Big Brother Cheesecake house, and this week Brazil is the head of household. She nominated Brenda and CJ for eviction, but the Golden Power Veto can still change the nominations. Who will win it? You'll find out tomorrow. And what will the competition be? We'll find out shortly. But first, yesterday, the Reality Realness crew, Chantel, Jojo, and Jonathan talked to Ryan, the most recently evicted house guest and first member of the jury. And it was very long, but I actually watched it in one shot, and the time flew by. It was 2.5 hours, and I thought, once again, they did a fantastic job. And a lot of the house guests and I shared the same opinion on the interview. And I think it was the same opinion that was shared by the Realness crew, which is Ryan basically said the mistake that was made, the house guest made a mistake evicting me. It was a bad move for them. Well, we'll find out if that's the case. Something to that effect. But the other part, which I wrote down, was how Ryan said that one of his downfalls was that he didn't reach out to the house guests. Or I think Chantel said that he didn't reach out to the house guests, whereas Curtis did. And Ryan said, and I'll give him credit, this is true, that you don't want to constantly poke a sleeping bear and say, are you voting for me? Are you voting for me? Are you voting for me? Which I agree it's annoying. But if you're a nominee, I think it's kind of warranted. And, if you do it once a day, even that's a lot. You can do it every other day. I think that would have been enough. But it was just, I feel like Chantel, Jojo, and Jonathan were all trying to sort of tell Ryan, hello, you're not the mastermind of this season. And Ryan was just like, I also made this move. I made that move. I made this move. But I loved it. And I love Ryan. I always will. Okay. In addition, so I took some notes, and there was obviously a lot that they talked about. Another Ryan quote I loved. This made me laugh so hard. And I even told Ryan yesterday. Quote, I arranged, talking about Curtis's 3 head of households. I arranged for him to win. I didn't throw them. There's a difference. No, there's not. If you're purposely allowing somebody else to win head of household, meaning you lose, you're throwing it to that person. That's arranged, thrown. It's the same thing. Tomato, tomato. Then Ryan said about All-Stars, Chantal asked, do you think you'll be picked to play All-Stars, and would you play? And Ryan said that because he was on Big Brother Canada, he would likely be chosen and that he would play. I am considering Ryan for All-Stars, but it's not because he was on Big Brother Canada. It's because, as you all know, I love stats and numbers and fun facts. And Ryan finished 9th place in Big Brother Canada 6, evicted day 48, and this season he finished in 9th place. Could have been evicted day 51, but he left the day before on day 50. And so when you finish 9th place in a row twice, it's so tempting for me to give him the chance to see if he can beat the 9th place record. And if I were him, I would rather go out first than finish 9th place the 3rd time. That would just be devastating. In Backyard Big Brother, Aton was 2nd place in the season 1, 2nd place in their version of All-Stars, and then he came back a 3rd time, and he made Final 2, and I remember, I think he said in a podcast, if I come in 2nd place, if I come in 2nd place a 3rd time, and it's true. Who would want to finish in the same spot 3 times? Even besides winning, even in a good position 3 times would kind of suck. And 9th place is, it's decent. You have Aton with season 1, Joanne season 2, Krista season 3, and Orion. So you have a good group of people in sort of the 9th place family. but yeah, so that's kind of more so the reason why I'm considering picking him, is to see if he can beat ninth place. He said that he said the most to me in his DRs. That's not true, Ryan. You're somewhere in the middle there. I mean, Ryan did not tell me the name of his four-person alliance, his preseason alliance, at all. Somebody else told me that it was The Cure. Boring name, again. Sorry. But he also did not tell me about MNBC, which a lot of the house guests know about now. I think everybody knows. So, I mean, yeah, he told me things, but he wasn't the most. He was probably somewhere in the middle. Lindsay's voice during the nomination speech, I purposely, for Chantel, spoke slowly so that she and Jojo and Jonathan and everybody listening could understand it. Plus, it was an amazing speech, and I wanted to dissect it. I would have done it fast, but then I thought Chantel's going to complain that I just rambled through it. So that's why I did it, and then Chantel's like, you have to follow through. You have to follow through on your voices, Andrew! So, okay. Total Recall. So going with the pageant video... I went with the pageant video strictly, besides the fact that I love pageants, because I figured nobody would have watched that video, so it's fair. Because I considered going with Threat Level Midnight, which was Michael Scott's video, like feature film that he made on The Office. But the problem with that is some people who are fans of The Office would know that video better than those who aren't, and so I thought that wasn't fair. So that's why I went that route. And Jonathan not liking pageants. I mean... To quote Lara Dutta, Miss Universe 2000, who gave one of the best final answers of all time, she was asked, her final question was, there is a protest going on outside of this convention center calling the Miss Universe pageant disrespectful of women. Convince them that they're wrong.
I think pageants like the Miss Universe pageant gives us young women a platform to foray into the fields that we want to and forge ahead, be it entrepreneurship, be it the armed forces, be it politics. It gives us a platform to voice our choices and opinions and makes us strong, independent that we are today. Thank you.
Thank you, India.
Didn't have much to say about the other girls, but this girl I really have to stand behind. When she grabbed that microphone from Sindai, she pulled in the audience with her being, her presence.
She knows that she handled it so well.
And I was like, yes. And another fun fact, Lindsay came over once to watch a pageant with Tiffany. This was back when I was still living with my parents, like way, way, way back. And I remember the former Miss USA, the former Miss USA came out, and there's a video montage where she talks and says, in the past year, I went on the Larry King show, and I went to Afghanistan to talk to the troops, and I visited with Nelson Mandela and talked about racism, and I raised over $2 million for ovarian cancer, and I met with children in schools in poor areas, in troubled, impoverished areas, and so she lists all these charitable things that she did. And at the end of the video, Lindsay turns to Tiffany and I don't know if she had a stroke or something, but Lindsay says, so what does Miss USA do? And Tiffany and I are like, did you not just watch the video montage of her year in review? I mean, it couldn't have been any more clear. It was literally 2 minutes of all the appearances she made and the money she raised and the things she did. And I'm just like, anyway. Okay, so yeah, the episode's getting longer this season. Yeah, I hate to say it, it's strictly because there's more to talk about. I mean, no offense to season 3, but I mean, you know, who did Alvin insult today? Or what's JoJo's robot going to say? Besides that, there wasn't much going on because the house guests were very tight-lipped and they had their plan and it was working. And it was still a great season. I loved it. There was great strategy and everything, and Chantel was an extremely deserving winner. There's just more to talk about this year. And I do generally try and keep the videos at 15 minutes. That's my goal. And you're right. Some episodes this season just went way off. Whoops! The baby pictures were the house guests from this season. I'm surprised Chantel didn't pick up on that. I mean, the Nick ones were so obvious. Those piercing eyes were like that. Those eyes just scream Nick. So yeah. And then we have, and last but not least, okay, so Lindsay not using the head of household. So Chantel said that maybe because the head of household doesn't use the veto often, That's why Big Brother Canada got rid of having the HOH play in POV. And that triggered me. Jonathan then said he hates that because the HOH should defend their nominations. I totally agree. So unfortunately in Big Brother Cheesecake, the head of household who wins the veto has never used it, but it has happened in Big Brother Canada and US. And Kat this season, she put up Jack and CJ, and had she won the veto, she would have taken Jack off and put up Lynn. So the head of household playing in the veto is there not just to defend their nominations, but if they have a backdoor plan, that allows them, if they win it, to go through with the plan. Chris in Big Brother Canada 8, if he won the veto week 2, if he was eligible, then he would have taken off, I believe, Hira, and or I don't know which one he was going to do, Hira or Brooke, but he would have taken one of them off and backdoored Michael, and he should have had the chance to play. But everybody has their own theory on why Big Brother Canada stopped allowing the head of household to play in the veto, and I am so confident, and I will fight anybody to the death. And Kat says I'm nuts, Evil Dick says I'm nuts, Peter Brown says I'm nuts, but I don't care about his opinion because he doesn't like me, and the feeling is mutual. 100% the reason why Big Brother Canada got rid of the head of household playing in the veto was this. Money. It's cheaper to build 5 arts and crafts stations or 5 slippery ski lengths or 5 sets of puzzle pieces than it is to build 6. And if you add up the amount of money saved in each competition by only building it for 5 people versus building it for 6, like the one where they have to throw, like if they get a question wrong, paint explodes on them, that shit is expensive. And if you do it across the entire season, it's cheaper. And that's all it is their stupid budget. If they're willing to have a bag of crackers, Twistos, be their sponsor, or a jar of hummus from Summer Fresh. Everybody in the audience is getting a jar of hummus. Whoop-de-doo. Clearly, they're desperate for cash. And everybody says I'm nuts with that, but that makes the most sense. And people are like, no, the budget, they have enough money. Global gives them money. The studio is at Queensway Evans and East Mall. It's across the street from a sleazy motel. There's a dinky gas station next to it. If you go underneath the highway, the QEW is there, so everybody in this peaceful backyard in the hot tub gets to hear the trucks going by. You go underneath the highway, and there's the remnants of a torn-down restaurant called The Q, which the oldest white women in Etobicoke would go to because it served shitty chicken. It's like the fake poor man's Swiss chalet. That area sucks. The fact that they had to build a shitty-ass studio there is right? They have no money. And so it is... And don't get me wrong, the house... They put a lot of money into the house. They make the house look fantastic. And they want the challenges to look fantastic too, and it does. Which is why, to save money, you have 5 stations instead of 6. And I think that's bullshit. And I don't care what anybody says, that's the reason. And I feel terrible for Adam Pike last season because he could have had... I believe I don't know who has the most competition wins in Big Brother Canada history, but Adam was HOH 3 times and won a whole bunch of vetoes, and he could have been the most winning house guest ever. But because he was HOH 3 times, he couldn't play in those 3 vetoes. Bullshit. Total bullshit. Anyway, I hate it. I absolutely hate it. Okay, so that's my thoughts on Reality Realness. Now it's time to get to the rules for the Golden Power Veto competition. Only 6 house guests will participate in the Golden Power Veto competition. The head of household Brazil, the 2 nominees Brenda and Kat, and 3 players selected in a random draw, which were Curtis. Brenda got house guest choice and picked Kat, and Brazil got house guest choice and picked Lindsay. So everybody except Marcin and Nick will play. The time I gave the house guest. So I was finally not working this weekend, so I gave the house guests 3 more normal times than the previous weeks. Saturday 11 a.m., Saturday 3 p.m., and Sunday 11 a.m., and none of them liked any of the times, so I added in Sunday at 3 p.m. We had a tie between the 2 Sunday times, and because CJ is working Sunday morning and she's a nominee, I sided with her. So the competition will take place Sunday at 3 p.m., which is late. So this means 2 things. Tomorrow's episode will be late, and JoJo's going to be messaging me all day. Make with the episode. Let's go. I'm bored. Make with the episode. And in addition, whoever wins the veto will not have as much time to decide what to do with it. And same goes for Brazil making a potential replacement nominee. Just bear that in mind, everyone. So, the Golden Power Veto competition this week is called Big Brother Silent Auction. And here's how it works. I've practiced this game many times, and there are lots of variations as to how it can go. So it could be over very fast, or it could take a long time. So it's up to you guys. So don't blame me if we go on forever and ever. But I'm predicting 30 to 45 minutes. So the object of the game is to spell the word veto, V-E-T-O. I will have in a bag 40 letters. There are 10 V's, 10 E's, 10 T's, 6 O's, and 4 P's, as in penis. And I will get to the P's in a second. I will draw a letter, and you will each privately message me how much money you are willing to bet on that letter. You are each given 1,000 Shroot Bucks. Shroot Bucks are not transferable. We all remember the episode of The Office where Dwight gave around Shroot Bucks for people for good behavior, and the Shroot Bucks had no value at all. But yeah, you have 1,000 Shroot Bucks. They're not transferable. It's your money. You will privately message me how much you are willing to spend on that letter. If you are the winner, if you have the highest amount, like in a silent auction, if you bet the highest amount, you win the letter and you have to pay for that letter. Everybody else who bet lower doesn't have to pay for it. I will publicly message the group, so you're privately messaging me how much you're betting, and I will publicly message the group that the winner is, let's say, Curtis. Curtis has to pay that amount of money, and he gets a letter. But I will not say how much Curtis spent on that letter. So you will know who has what letter. So if the V comes out first and Curtis bids the highest, you will know Curtis has a V. But you won't know how much money he has left. And then whoever is the first to spell veto, V-E-T-O, will win the Golden Power Veto. So just like in a silent auction, you don't know what everybody else is betting. And of course, we all remember Dwight in the silent auction in The Office when he thought it was a game where you have to guess the amount of the prize. So every single prize that comes out, he's guessing it right on because I think he Googled how much it cost. He's like, yes! I win! I'm the best! Me, me, me! And then he realized he had to pay for it all. And this also happened on Friends too, with Joey. But yeah, so if you're the first to spell veto, you win. Now, like I said, there are 6 V's, 6 E's, 6 T's. There are 10 V's, 10 E's, 10 T's, 6 O's. That does not necessarily mean there's 1 O for each person. If you get an O and then an O comes out again, or any letter if you want to get it twice, you can bid on that letter again if you want to screw somebody else out of getting it. So let's say hypothetically you already have a V. Curtis, and he's just the name that comes to mind. Curtis has E-T-O. He just needs the V to win veto. So even though you already have a V, you still might want to bid on it to make sure Curtis doesn't get the V. And then there are 4 P's. The P's are prank protection. They don't help you win the veto at all, but if you win a P, you get prank protection next week when we all play. Lindsay and Marson, they're in Zone 1. They're guaranteed to get the chance to play. Zone 2 is Brenda, Kat, and CJ. Zone 3 is Nick, Curtis, and Marson. So everybody's going to get the chance to at least decide whether they're playing or not. And if you get prank protection and you ask for the Pooh Brown Power Veto, there's no penalty. So you can go for it next week with the prank protection. The only drawback is if you bid on the prank protection and you win it. Actually, should I make it anonymous? You know what? Let's make it interesting. The person who wins prank protection will be anonymous. So you won't know who did it. Yeah, we'll make it interesting. I will admit, I just made that decision right now. Not predetermined. Yeah, okay. So I think that's everything. If you have any questions, I'm sure you will, you can ask. You have until tomorrow at 3 p.m. to strategize, which, I mean, I don't think there's much strategizing to do, but what the hell do I know? Okay, with that said, who will win the Golden Power Veto in the Big Brother Silent Auction Golden Power Veto competition? Find out tomorrow. And Monday, will they use it to save Brenda or CJ from the chopping block? Tuesday, the final 2 nominees plead their case. We check in with Ryan at the jury house, and we learn the rules for the next Head of Household competition, and Wednesday is the next live eviction and Head of Household competition where another house guest will be fired from Dunder Mifflin, evicted from the Big Brother Cheesecake Poorhouse, lose their shot at the $400 Cheesecake Factory gift card, and become the second member of the jury. I'm Andrew Shevsik Moonves. Take care, and we leave you as we eavesdrop on the house guests. Good night.